Are you getting constant calls from teachers about defiant students? Well, in this video, I'm going to share 8 strategies that you can use that are easy and effective to support all students who are difficult or defiant. And be sure to watch this video all the way to the end because I'm going to share a bonus tip that'll help you empower your students through difficult situations. As I was filming my video, Carter came in and he wanted to tell you all that he's not defiant or difficult. In order to support students who are having a difficult time, it's important to understand the root cause of why they're being defiant. We need to understand where that behavior comes from. This is where you take the time to consider all the things that student is experiencing. Some of our students are a couple of grade levels behind, and often they hide their academic struggles behind behavior. So when they don't know how to do something in class, oftentimes they'll distract the teacher or cause disruptions to avoid them being called out or singled out. Some of our students are also dealing with problematic situations in their home life, and this can show up in their schoolwork and their behaviors too. The next step is having empathy for your students. If they're in your office at this point, talk to them, understand who they are, talk about their families. And one way that I do this so it doesn't have to be like a generalized conversation is I complete a genogram. I learned how to complete genograms when I was working in the mental health field. Basically, all it is a drawing that you create that helps you map out their family situations. You talk about their relationships, and it's a great way to get to know students. It also can give you a really good understanding of their family dynamics, so then you may be able to understand their behaviors more. Genograms are a simple and an effective tool that you can use in your individual sessions with all students. And if you would like for me to create a video on how to make a genogram, comment family below. You're probably gonna think, oh, I knew this already, but the next step is building trust with them. In order for your students to open up to you, talk to you, and to receive your input, feedback, and support, is to build a connection with them. So I'm gonna share some simple ways that I do that. This is where you take the time to establish a genuine connection with your students. Talk to them about things that are not school related. Learn about their family, their interests, the things that they like to do for fun. You have to know your students beyond just academics and schoolwork. So I'm gonna share a couple of different ways that I do this. Be visible. Your students need to see you at all times throughout the day. I'm present during morning arrival. Every morning after arrival duty, I go to visit every single classroom and I greet every student by name and I smile and I say hello. They see me during transitions when they pass to their different classes. And even though some of you may despise lunch duty, it's a great way to build connections with your students and talk to them and see them in a social setting outside of the classroom. You can see who's friends with who, you can see how they interact with other people, and it's just a great place to watch kids be kids. So now let's say you're in your office in a one-on-one session with a student who's difficult or defiant. Play games with them. I know you're probably thinking, hey, they got in trouble. Why should I be playing games with them? Do you want to build a relationship with your students or not? And after watching this video, if you want some suggestions on some games that you can play during one-on-one sessions with your students, check out this video on the screen. I'll drop the link in the description below. The next thing you want to do is practice active listening. Your students should know that your office or your classroom is a safe space for them to genuinely express themselves without judgment. Sometimes students genuinely just need someone to listen to them and show them some attention. So when you are listening to them, show genuine concern. Make sure you're looking at them and not trying to do other things or multitask at the same time. Try to avoid interrupting or judging them, even if their thinking is off or wrong. Simply validate their experience and their feelings and offer a listening ear. So that means if a student is sitting right in front of you, they need to have your 100% attention and focus. Avoid doing paperwork. Try to avoid eating lunch unless it's absolutely necessary, because I know there are some times when we don't get a chance to eat lunch. Don't check your emails, don't be filing papers or doing things like that. Another way to practice active listening is paraphrasing what they say back to you so that you can make sure you understand exactly what they're trying to say. And if you're wrong with the way you paraphrase, they will correct you, trust me. But it's only coming from a place of love. They really want you to just understand what they're going through. Tip number 4, collaborate with your teachers or staff. Ask them some of the behaviors that they're experiencing, dealing with, or seeing in that classroom with that particular student. It is essential to get their buy-in and perspective when it comes to dealing with student behaviors. But also be mindful, because at times teachers can contribute to the problem. Sometimes they don't mean to, and some of the teachers don't have the skills to actually deal with defiant or difficult students. Either they haven't learned it, or sometimes they just don't have the will to do it because all the other things that they have to deal with in the classroom, such as teaching, which can be difficult in and of itself. Trust me, I do have stories in the past where teachers have instigated or made a situation worse for the student. And if you would like for me to share a video on how to address those situations with difficult teachers, comment below difficult situations. But for the most part, a united front between students, counselors, and teachers is essential in order for the support system to work entirely. We all have to be on the same page. Tip number 5, have an individualized approach. Remember that one size does not fit all, and every situation is not the same. Every student is not the same. That means you need to tailor your approach to meet that student's particular needs. What works for one may not work for everyone, but that's why it's important to know your students. For some Defiant students, that means I can laugh and joke with them about their behavior so I can help them see how difficult they're actually being. For others, that means I know I just need to be more firm and fair. The approach that you take really just depends on that student. Tip number 6, teach coping strategies. So when dealing with difficult or defiant students, it's important to teach them coping skills to manage their frustration and stress. These are the skills that are going to help them be successful in life. So once they learn them now, they can build upon them when they get older and use them in situations when you're not present. So if they're in your office, you can teach them a quick coping skill and give them something that works for them. So no cookie cutter coping skills. Don't just throw them a sheet and say, hey, do something. You have to tailor it to what they're actually going to be able to use and learn. Tip number 7, involve parents and guardians. Communication with families is an important part of this process. So that means you have to keep them informed, involved, and help work with them throughout this process. That way we can create together a system of support. So when you call and speak with a family, talk to them from a place of calmness and empathy. There are times when families are struggling just as much as students. So I always ask them, is this a good time to talk? And I pay attention to the tone and the way that I communicate that message, because all of that matters. Honestly, when you have a parent or guardian on your side, it can make a world of a difference. And this is just something that comes with time and experience, but I try not to take families, parents' attitudes personally, because I know at the end of the day, they just want what's best for their student. And sometimes they don't know how to express what they really need, or sometimes they've just gotten a lot of phone calls from other teachers, and you're that one that where it sends them over the edge. So if they do respond to you with an attitude, just have a calm, even approach and ask them what you can do to help support them and their student. I've had some conversations with families that in the beginning it started off really rocky, but when they saw that I was simply there to offer help to their student and I had their best interests at heart just like they do, they calmed down and we were able to work through it. And tip number 8, celebrate small wins. Acknowledge and reward students when they show signs of improvement. Remember that it's not going to happen overnight. It takes time. When you acknowledge even their little improvement, it goes a long way in helping them understand how you're there to be their cheerleader or support system. So that means when you acknowledge when a student remains in class the whole time and they don't get put out, or they use their goal tracking sheet that you provided with them and they show progress, you have to celebrate those wins with them. It makes them feel good, it helps them to be seen, and it helps them to understand that someone really is there looking out for them. It really does care. And it doesn't always have to be like a tangible reward like candy or games or things like that. Yes, you can, but it can also mean just a simply check in or check out, or like a Friday reward where you can come to the counselor office and we can play a game of Uno together or listen to one of your favorite songs. Students just want someone to be in their corner and they want to know that someone has their back on campus. And who better for it to be than you, than the school counselor? So I'm going to let you in on a secret. The 3 things that are your superpowers as a school counselor are patience, understanding, and collaboration. Remember, you may not see it initially, and sometimes you don't even see it before they go off to a different school, but just know that you are making an impact. Keep up the great work. You're doing an amazing job. Remember that seeds don't grow overnight. It takes time for them to flourish. And if you found these tips helpful, be sure to like this video and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you're aware when I post new videos. It helps YouTube see the value in my channel. And if you would like to support me in another way, buy me a coffee at the link below. I love coffee because it helps my creative juices flow so I can create videos for you. So here's one of the bonus tips that I wanted to share with you. Check out this video on the screen where you can learn how to do 10-minute powerful individual counseling sessions that'll make a huge difference, where you're teaching them coping skills, but you're doing it in a way where they are the ones who are picking what's going to be helpful for them. And also, if you would like tips on how to improve your individual counseling session, check out this video where I talk about different games that you can play with your students. See you next time.